Hey, so let's talk about setting up your online tools. My name is Jean-Serge. We're going to talk about your steps to success. We've been doing the 12 steps to your success, and today is about setting up tools. Setting up tools is something that you probably think you got to do right away, right? I know that that's what I did when I started many years ago, like 4 years ago now. When I started, I just set up all the tools. I learned all about the tools. I did all these things. And the reason, and you might be thinking, why are we talking about the tools only on step 9? So we're going to get into that in a second, but first this.
So the real question is this: what are the strategies, techniques, and tools that you need to learn to generate residual income from the e-learning boom that's happening right now? My name is Jean-Serge and welcome to Course Income Secrets.
All right, so setting up your tools might be like something that you've been thinking, I got to do it at the beginning, right? Why we're going to step 9 when we don't even talk about the tools until now is basically because there's so much more to do. And when I started, I'm a computer geek. I'm into computers. I'm a technical guy. So for me, it was like, okay, I just got to set up the tools, right? I got to set up the tools, got to get it all working, got to get it all integrated, get it all done right, and then everything's going to be great, right? And that's wrong. That's not even like, let's go back to the actual, steps to your online success. I mean, first we could talk about defining your vision, right? We talk about defining your vision. That's the very first thing you have to do. Without a vision, you can't have goals and you can't set up a plan, right? We talk about defining your target market. That's so important to define. I mean, that's just one of those things that if you don't define your audience, your target market, you won't really know who you're talking to. Then define your avatar, your specific avatar. You have to define your avatar because that helps you to communicate the right way. If your avatar is a broke student versus a wealthy entrepreneur, you're going to use different language. You're going to talk differently. You're going to say different things. So that's why it's important to define that. Define your offer. You got to say, what is it you're selling? I mean, what are you actually offering? Is it a product? Is it a service? Is it being part of an opportunity? Is it, what is it, right? What do you got? Then we got to talk about your content copy. How, and that's step number 5 is really not a step the same as the other one. It's kind of talking about the examples, how you do copywriting, what it is that you need to worry about, how you come up with the right words based on what your audience is, and also based on psychology, right? The words that affect people and things like that. Like, for example, saying, you don't want to miss this webinar. Well, that's not a good thing to say. You should be saying, why would you not want to be on this webinar, right? The wording means the same thing, right? It's telling them to be on the webinar, to not miss the webinar, but the wording doesn't have the same impact psychologically on the person reading it, right? So that's what copy is all about. Then we have to define your attractive character, because part of the whole journey in your prospects interaction with you is getting emails from you, is getting content from you, seeing you online, seeing you in posts, and getting to know, like, and trust you. For them to for you to have the right words, the right stories, the right things to talk about, you need to know who your attractive character. That's the person that is going to be talking to people, right? Then the email sequence is basically your soap opera sequence. What is it that you're going to send as emails when you first start? We talked about this yesterday. The soap opera sequence. Here, go to the full screen here. The soap opera sequence over here is 5 emails. I mean, that's just one example. There's different ways to do it, but this is one example, and this comes from Russell Brunson in .com Secrets. I'm trying to get the focus here to work. So, I mean, this is just different 5 emails, and what those emails are. That's what we talked about in step number 7. Then we talked about creating your low cost or your free item, or getting a low cost or free item out there. There's all sorts of different places where you can get something you can reuse and you can give away to get people on your list, or you can create your own, right? It's really it's up to you, but you should start with the free stuff that's out there that you can reuse, that you can give others, and that you don't have to worry about creating yourself in the beginning, right? And now finally, we're talking about setting up your tools. So as you can see, there's a whole lot of other things that have to happen as part of your steps to, I mean, we could have put set up your tools first, right? But it would have felt like I'm not done yet. It's not perfect yet. My tools aren't set up yet. And then you wouldn't even necessarily know about all the other things that you got to do. And you'd be wasting a lot of time setting up your tools, which is what I did when I started. And I wanted to make sure that you didn't go through that same process. You would be like going through all these things that have to happen. And lots of this stuff, the first, 8 steps, I'm sure you haven't even completed most of it because they are complex. Some of them are complicated things to do. They take a while to do. We're just going through these steps to kind of give you an idea of what are the things you got to do to get success online. All right. So setting up your tools, I'm just going to show you. I mean, this is not what we're going to be doing, but this is, an example of the kind, I'm not on the right screen. This is an example of what tools you need to build a business online. Now, you don't necessarily need all those tools right now, and actually you don't, because like when we talk about autoresponder, I mean, these are just different examples of autoresponders. You really just need one of these. You can even start with the MLSP autoresponder, which is limited in the sense that it doesn't let you create your own emails, but at least it lets you add people to the list, and they'll do things. They'll send messages to your new subscribers for you. So that's not, we don't really want that, but you could start with that as a way to do it. When I first started, I did start with this, and then I got Aweber right away. And then we need to be able to create capture pages. We need to be able to create funnels. That can be done using something, Funnelizer, which is part of MLSP. That's one of the tools that I'm using that includes a whole bunch of different things. But then there's also ClickFunnels, which is another platform that you can use to create, and it's a really awesome platform. And of course, you can just use Aweber to create forms. Now, if you start with Aweber, you can just use Aweber Forms to get subscribers. Now, I'm not saying it's the most elegant or the most beautiful or the most functional way of doing it, but at the very basic, at the core of getting subscribers, that can work, at least in the beginning, right? There's also a blog or website you might want to set up. You might use WordPress or Wix, or their MLSP also has a tool called Sites, which lets you create a full WordPress website. Then, of course, there's setting up all your social media accounts. Oh my God, setting up all your social media accounts is part of the whole journey, right? When you're building your brand. Now, I'm not saying you have to post everywhere. You got to, create content for all those platforms right away. But I highly recommend you create your accounts, because one of the things we do when we're talking about branding online, we suggest you use personal branding, not a business brand. And again, it depends on what you're trying to do, but if whatever you're doing, you should have an account on all those platforms that match the same account name, so that you don't lose that name for later. So just go ahead and set up your accounts. You can use them later. And then of course there's automating of posting. There's tools called Social Jukebox, Buffer Only Wire, FTT. These are all tools that I use. There's a bunch of other tools, but that's just an example. Now we're definitely not gonna go through all this. What I'm just gonna do today is just Aweber, because that's really the only thing you need to be doing. We really just care about Aweber or a platform. Now, if you're starting out right now, they have a 30-day. Just go to aweber.jeansergegagnon.com and make sure you got the right link. .jeansergegagnon.com. Just go to that link, right? And it'll take you to the page to sign up. Let me just show you what that looks like. Over here. So when you go there, of course, it takes you to the sign up. There's a free trial. If we look at the pricing, right, just to give you an idea, it's $19 a month, but the first 30 days is free, so you can actually cancel after 30 days if you really want to. but it lets you do all this stuff, right? So what is Aweber? Let me just show you what Aweber is. So Aweber, basically, if I look at, say, when I go first to my Aweber, um, start, it shows me how many subscribers I have, how many subscribers yesterday, that kind of stuff, the emails I sent, the open rate, then the number of the lists I have, how many people I have on each different lists. And then if I go to, say, for example, sign up forms over here, it lets you create a sign-up form. We're not going to go through the whole process in this episode here, but just to show you what this kind of looks like, if I click on preview over here, it shows me that this is the sign-up form that I have. This sign-up form can be, let's move it over here because it's, so that sign-up form can be whatever, a pop-up like this. It can be different things. So let's just say for example, you have a, a WordPress site, or you have your own website. You can actually add the code like this. They show you the code on your website, or you can use it as what they call a landing page. So you could just give this link to people and say, hey, go there to join my list, and they'll see this, right? When they go to that list, that link, they'll just see this page, right, where people can put their name and email to join their list. There's, obviously this is a weird looking URL, so you can use, there's other tools that you should be using. There's something called Bitly that lets you give them a short link, or you can have your own domain like me when I do aweber.jean-serge.com. That's because I have my own domain, and I set the aweber dot my name or my domain to go to the right page, right? You can do the same thing here. I could have, for example, sign up.jean-serge.com, and I could just redirect to this, and you wouldn't have to remember that, right? You could just send it to them. But anyways, that's, and this is like, if I look at this, if I just go back to the design of this, it's relatively simple. I can just say I want to add another image here, and let's just say I want to add, I don't know, let's just put this one, and then there you go. Now I have this is actually a GIF, so that's why it looks like a video, right? But it's, so I've added it to my form. I can move it up here, and then can I center that? I don't. Oh yes, I can. Yeah. I can center it. So I mean, and then that's part of the form editor. That's the basic form. So you need to have, and this is the thing, we're talking about your tools. Actually, you know what? I'm going overboard and talking about the form setup, but the tools is like I said, there's Aweber, which is your email autoresponder. So an email autoresponder is a tool that lets you have, like you saw here, if I look at my messages, right, there's what's called a follow-up series, which is emails that people get whenever they get on your list. This is what we talk about, the soap opera sequence, right? In this case, this is not a soap opera sequence. This is just a specific list of 10 emails or 11, 12 emails that they're getting when they join this particular list, which is a list where they first, like, the first email they get, because they signed up to get this free ebook. Whoops, it didn't load. So they get the free ebook. The first email they get after they subscribe and enter their name is they get this first email here, which, if it'll load, which basically just says, thanks for asking for this ebook. I hope you enjoy it. Here's the link, right? So then you give them a link to click it. Of course, you make the image clickable as well. If I click on this image, you can see right here that it goes to my ebook page. This link here is also shows that it goes to the ebook page, right? So that's basically it. You create an email, and then you add another email, you add another email, you just configure it so it goes 2 days after. You can reorder these things if you want, like this, right? Reorganize them. You can, and then over here you can see the open rate, right? So 50% open the first one, 26 open the second one, 38, 25. So I mean, and this is the kind of thing that over time you might get better. Like me, this is a list that's been it's an old list. It's a list I've had for quite a while, so I'm not really promoting it that much, but I still do have that on my website, on my blog. So if we were to look, for example, at my blog, let me see, do I have a link for my blog here? No, let's just go over here. Well, let's just open it up here. It's just, my blog is just this. There, so just go here. And that could be your blog as well. It's just a website like this where you have a bunch of different posts on here. They're called blog posts. You have posts, you got pages as well, they call them. These are all just posts that were done by my VA. And they're just videos, right? If I click on this, it'll just play the video, right? Well, it's supposed to. Yeah, there you go. So it's playing the video, right, of that particular topic. Hey, my friend, so do you? And you know, that's the one kind of blog, right? As you can see, you can put some things down the bottom, which are ads and things like that. You can have at the very top, you can have some menus up here, right? You can have, like me, I have contact, work with me, coaching, that kind of stuff. It's on here. You can have whatever you want, right? You put whatever you want. This is your website. This is your page. And if you're using something like MLSP, you can actually configure the blog, the site to have different, let me just show you what that looks like. If I go here, oops, there, I'll just show you that. So this is the actual WordPress, the configuration of how this WordPress works. You can see the list of the posts in here, dates that were published, that kind of stuff. And then if I go, for example, under appearance, under themes, I can choose different themes. I can choose the DV, the Attitude Pro, the Author Pro, the Beautiful Pro, the Flex, the Canard, the Cafe, all these different things. If I'm not going to do it right now because my page has been a certain theme for quite a while, but when you start, you can create 1 or 2 pages, and then you can click on these different things, and it'll change the layout of your page, but won't change your page content, right? You can have the same page with the same content. In theory, you're supposed to be able to do that anytime, but once you have lots of pages on your site, sometimes you might have tweaked certain things that don't exactly exist in the other themes, so switching between them might not work exactly right. So that's why I'm not doing it right now. But as you can see, they look also different, right? They look also different, but they're all basically the same thing. You have pages, and you have posts, and you have menus and pop-ups, and there's all sorts of things you can do with this. Like for example, on my page, on my blog, as you can see here, it says you're new here, you may want to get my ebook, right? So that shows up on every single page. If I click on this, it goes to my page where they can well, actually, it's not the right, that's because I'm logged in, but normally they would get to this page, which is this page. Oh, there you go. Which would let them enter their name and email again, the same ebook, right? So, but if they're first on my website, it shows something different. Actually, let's just go here. Open link. If I go to the page that if I'm new, I get something different, and that's how one of the plugins work. On this, you don't get. If I click on one of these, it says you're new. If you're new here, you may want. Oh, sorry, that's when you're new. The other one, the other page was still showing as new because I haven't been to my blog, myself for quite a while. If I was to reload this a dozen times or so, it changes the message here. It says welcome back or something. And that's one of the things you can do. That's a plugin. You can do all sorts of different things on your blog, on your website. And yeah, so that's, I mean, like I said, there's so many different tools. If we look back at the list of tools, I mean, that's your email autoresponder. We did this. We talked about blog. I mean, I'm using MLSP sites. Social media accounts, of course, I'm not going to go through and show you the different social media, but I could show you some of the tools that I use for automation. But these are also advanced things. You certainly don't need to worry about that when you're starting out right now. We're just going through the 12 steps, trying to get you started to on your way to your online success. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to take just a few hours here and there. It's going to take a while to get it all done, but at least if you follow these steps, these 12 steps, you're not going to be wasting your time. You know, where's my, you're not going to be wasting your time doing all these things that I wasted my time on. At least I know that I wasted time, so I'm trying to put together this list of 12 things so that you don't waste your time. And so, yeah, that's it for today. We'll see you in the next episode.
This has been Course Income Secrets, the entrepreneur's blueprint to generating income from the e-learning boom. Some of your friends need to hear this message, so don't forget to share. For more content like this, go to CourseIncomeSecrets.com and make sure to subscribe and follow us here. My name is Jean-Serge Gagnon. Until next time.